up, we get an update on the current conditions in Central Taiwan after days of heavy rain. We learn more about Xiaoman, the 8th solar term of the year, as it marks the start of monsoon season. Welcome to DaAi Headlines. I'm Mary Lee. Thank you for joining us. Following days of torrential rain in Taiwan, the staircase of Zhuolan Experimental Senior High School in Central Taiwan turned into a veritable waterfall, making it extremely difficult for students to attend class. Meanwhile, a man who was fishing on the Zhuoshui River was washed away and is currently still missing.
Due to heavy rain and poor visibility, the search for the missing fisherman was temporarily called off. Early morning on May 21st, rescue teams resumed their search, using a hovercraft to travel downstream of Zhuoshui River in hopes of finding some trace of the missing man.
We will be searching all along Zhuoshui River.
In Yunnan County's Citong on May 20th, 2 men were fishing on the Zhuoshui River. The men were later left trapped on a sandbank after the river burst its banks. One man was able to escape to call for help. However, his friend was washed away.
I fell into the water. When I swam to the shore, I couldn't reach him. I didn't hear his voice.
Currently, family members are on site waiting anxiously and hoping for good news. Meanwhile, in Nantou County, a 70-year-old grandmother who insisted on crossing a swollen river to cook dinner for her son was also washed away. And in Miaoli County, the torrential rains flooded National Zhuolan Experimental Senior High School, turning staircases into waterfalls. As class is still in session, students had no choice but to walk carefully in flip-flops or in bare feet. The heavy rain also flooded parts of Taichung City, including Daya District's Sakura community. The waters streaming down from the mountain have left many roads thick with mud, making travel extremely difficult. As the extreme weather is predicted to continue, members of the public need to take extra care when traveling over the next few days.
On May 5th, a fire broke out at the midnight hours at a 2-story residential home in Taoyuan's Bade City. The next day, Tzu Chi volunteers visited with emergency money to console the family. However, due to the water and fire damages, the furniture inside has become moldy. Thus, recently, Tzu Chi volunteers returned once again to the family's residence, armed with tools to help the family clean up the house. Earlier in May, a fire broke out in a residential area in Taoyuan's Bade City. After the blaze was put out, a 2-story home was left in ruins. Under the advisement of the city's social welfare department and the local borough head, Tzu Chi volunteers mobilized to help. Volunteers first cleared away a path from the door. Then they shoveled the debris into containers.
While the fire was extinguished, water flooded the entire house and soaked everything. The items have now grown moldy and smelly, so today we came to help the homeowner clean up his home.
I'm very grateful for all the Tzu Chi brothers and sisters who have came forward to help clean up the home. This way the house can return to normal sooner, and the family can move back in.
Halfway through the cleaning, rain poured down on the 30 volunteers. However, undeterred by the rain, 4 hours later, the home has returned to its original spaciousness, giving the family who's currently living elsewhere a step forward towards normalcy. According to studies, every 14 minutes, a language disappears on the planet, and with it, a unique culture. In Taiwan alone, 14 different indigenous tongues are listed as endangered. Thus, both indigenous people and researchers are working hard to systematically document each tribe's language and culture. Yesterday, we introduced the Rukai of Shuanghui Lake. Today, we will meet the Rukai of Dawu. Although the two settlements neighbor each other and residents are both of the indigenous Rukai tribe, the dialect and traditions of the two villages are not necessarily the same.
It has been nearly 5 years since the 88 floods.
We decided we are going to start over by focusing on our culture of millet.
Deep into Route 24, all roads leading to Dawu are long and winding. Today, only 100 Rukai still remain here.
The building is a long and arduous road. We decided to come back because we believe and trust in the land.
May happens to be millet harvest season. The female elders of the village are called Dawu-de. They are the main producers of millet and keepers of the village's culture.
Dawu-de, have you already collected the millet in the bag?
Back over there? Oh, yes, I have. That thing is quite different. You know, the thing that we make from millet? You should try it. Just look at the difference. Just look at the difference in size. You know that thing? What do you call it exactly?
The biggest obstacles for researchers is that the Dawu-des don't speak much Mandarin. The village's treasure is its culture, but the Dawu-des can only pass it down when they stand on their land. A Dawu-de proudly shows off the millet that she has just finished organizing.
No one else has this kind of millet. No one else except me. I'm the only one who has this. No one else has it.
After Typhoon Marcotte, the villagers took a look into their future and how they could ensure the continuation of their culture. In the end, they decided to come back to their mountain home, as that has always been their way of life.
After the disaster, we decided to categorize the different kinds of millets we have. After counting several times, it turned out we have 21 different species of millet. We verified the finding with our elders and then romanized each species' name.
Typhoon Marcotte made Dawu's Rukai realize that their culture was in jeopardy. Therefore, they teamed up with NPUST to document it.
I think we would all hate to see the disappearance of cultural diversity, so we should do our best to help preserve the cultures and traditions of different ethnic groups and settlements.
Before, we didn't know how to appreciate this, but it is something very real and can be lost. Our elders tell us that the land and our ancestral spirits will never abandon us, as long as we do our best to preserve our culture.
Unwilling to see their way of life fade away, the Rukai of Dawu have decided to stay in the mountains.
In Myanmar, the Tzu Chi Foundation is working to rebuild 12 schools in Taiwan Township. Currently, construction at the Ta Te Gun Basic Education Post-Primary School has entered the framing phase. Hence, staff of the foundation's construction department and the Taiwanese building contractor recently visited the school to check up on the progress.
The Tzu Chi Foundation is helping rebuild 12 schools here in Taiwan Township, with the project now entering the framing phase. To ensure the safety of the building right from the start, even the smallest details have not been ignored.
Because mud and cement cannot bond, so if there is mud on this surface, this area will become brittle, which will become a safety hazard for the entire building. Now that they are working on to assemble the structure, we wanted to come and inspect their progress.
Although the 12 schools are situated in remote villages, Tzu Chi insisted that each of the buildings were to be of the same level of quality as those under Taiwan's Project Hope.
Rebuilding a school with this kind of steel frame is a first for them, so there are many details that these construction workers are not aware of. But if they can get it right from the beginning, then the second and third building will go smoother. The bar set by Tzu Chi is higher than that required in public buildings, so we wanted to bring this skill set to Myanmar. We want the people here to understand that we're not only contributing our human resources, we're also passing down our skills and techniques.
As this is his first construction project outside of Taiwan, owner Liao Jiansheng visits Myanmar once a month to keep a close eye on the progress. It is also his hope that this love from Taiwan will flourish in Myanmar.
我从慈济里面学到很多东西。
I learned a lot from Tzu Chi, and I will do everything in my means to contribute. I want to bring the love of the Taiwanese people here and let residents know we are here to help.
Demanding the highest levels of quality, Tzu Chi is ensuring that these children will inherit a safe and happy learning environment.
In today's report on the 24 solar terms, we learn more about Xiaoman, which is the 8th solar term of the year and the 2nd solar term of summer. For rice farmers, Xiaoman is a time when grains are getting plump and also a time to celebrate the birth of the founding father of Chinese agriculture, the divine farmer Shen Nong. During the 8th solar term, rice in mid and southern Taiwan has already begun to ripen. However, as the grains are still too small for harvest, hence the name of the solar term, Xiaoman, which literally means small fullness.
We need to pump more water into our rice fields when it is Xiaoman, as our plants are beginning to ripen. Each grain has begun to fill, so more water is needed.
In Taiwan, Xiaoman marks the beginning of the monsoon season. To make sure water reaches their fields, farmers also need to weed their irrigation channels regularly.
If we don't spray pesticide, the weeds will grow tall and block the waterways, which will prevent water from flowing.
Besides weeding the channels, work also has to be done in the fields as well.
We have to remove the weeds or they will fight the rice for nutrients.
Xiaoman is also the 2nd solar term of the summer. As temperatures continues to rise, the water being fed by the pumps is soaked up by the ground, so rice will be ready come harvest time.
April 26th on the lunar calendar marks the birthday of divine farmer Shen Nong. His birthday is an important festival associated with Xiaoman.
Also known as the Emperor of Five Grains, the legendary ruler is thought to be the founding father of agriculture in China. New Taipei City hosts a Shen Nong festival annually to honor the deity.
The divine farmer not only taught our ancestors how to farm and establish China's agricultural system, he also tested plants on himself. So now we have the divine farmer's materia medica. Not only do we have food to eat, we can also live longer and stay healthier.
Originally worshipped primarily by farmers, nowadays Shen Nong is also worshipped as the deity of medicine. The muggy climate of Xiaoman is known to cause many skin conditions.
Typically, people will develop skin illnesses at the peripheries of their limbs around this time. For example, maybe rashes around the joints, which might break out.
Hives and eczema are the 2 most common skin diseases found during this time. Chinese medicine doctors suggest eating some coccyx seeds or hyacinth beans to help your body stay cool and dry, so you can enjoy this wonderful period. Each year, Taiwan's Council of Agriculture donates a portion of the country's rice harvest to Tzu Chi for international relief missions. This year, the council donated 5,100 tons of rice through Tzu Chi to the Philippines. On May 17th and 18th, 2 rice distributions were held in Quezon City, at which 5,022 needy families were helped.
A 20-kilogram bag of rice is what many impoverished families most long for. Some 5,000 people make their way inside the Jingsi Hall in an orderly manner as they wait with anticipation to receive this love from Taiwan.
Please give our love and place it to them.
An expecting mother, 18-year-old Venus Sejol, rushes home to give her mother the rice, as theirs has just run out.
All I think about every day is where I must go to find food. Thinking about it makes me want to cry. My husband had a stroke before, but he's still working, and we still can't afford to buy rice.
When my baby is born, there will be one more mouth to feed. We will have to live more frugally.
Adding some cocoa powder to the steaming bowl of rice, children eat it with relish. Dietary imbalances and sickness are all part of the vicious cycle of poverty here. Venus's family aren't the only ones who desperately need this rice. Marlon Bindoy's husband is a pedicab driver, and his unstable income means that the family often goes hungry because they don't have money for food.
When there's nothing to eat, we can only fight off the hunger since we don't want to always borrow money from our neighbors. When we don't have dinner, we go to bed early.
For Marlon's family, nothing is more precious than receiving this bag of rice from Taiwan. There are also those who donated their share to help others. One such person is local volunteer Victoria Kutamura, who gave her rice to the Dabira couple living out on the streets.
This is the only thing I can do to help you.
A few boards and canvases put together, this is where the Daviras sleep. As a way to reciprocate Tsuji's care, the couple donates recyclables they collect to Tsuji.
I don't have any money to donate to Tsuji. This is the only way I can contribute.
Although they are poor, they don't only think of themselves. They donate recyclables which can be sold for cash to us.
Now, please give
Secretary of the Taipei Economic and Cultural Office in the Philippines, Pan Xiaojun, also joined volunteers at the distribution. Furthermore, the media were on the scene to capture this giving of love. Many reporters later put down their microphones and cameras to help out.
I'm deeply touched to see Tsuji help so many people. By helping others, I gain an extraordinary sense of happiness.
In Indonesia earlier in January, North Sulawesi's Manado was struck by flash floods. In the wake of the disaster, Tsuji volunteers held various aid distributions to help residents get back on their feet. Recently, volunteers returned to the city once again to hold a free clinic offering services in ophthalmology.
Although the sun has just risen, Tsuji volunteers are already setting up their venue for the ophthalmology free clinic to take place inside a shopping mall in Manado, North Sulawesi. Despite the lack of resources, volunteers are determined to carry out the clinic as they know many residents here are in need of an eye exam. To make sure the venue is set up as quickly as possible, regardless of the weight involved, this volunteer happily carries 5 chairs at once. Seeing the volunteers' dedication, many locals jump in to lend a hand. Upon receiving the news that Tsuji is hosting a free clinic, many locals arrived at the venue early in the morning. Cleaning up the garbage around the venue is volunteer Sudar, who was inspired by the volunteers' relief effort following Manado floods. Today, he's here to contribute his share.
I'm very happy to have the opportunity to help out. In the future, as long as I have the ability to contribute my share and help those in greater need, I will join Tsuji's free clinics.
Among local volunteers is 18-year-old Cecilia, who warms each patient's heart with a smile.
I am not tired at all. I'm very happy because I saw so many smiles on the residents' faces. Although some of the patients had a bad attitude in the beginning, in the end, all of them walked home with a smile.
The free clinic not only cures body and mind, but also helps local volunteers gain the determination to seize every opportunity to help those in greater need.
Now we go to the Taichung Tsuji Hospital to learn more about a new system that can save patients on average 39 minutes of wait time and also help doctors gain a better understanding of their patients' health conditions.
Normally, it takes a long time for patients to see a doctor and receive their medication. However, by putting this microchip into a smartphone, everything from registration, getting a blood test to receiving medication will be digitalized. According to Taichung Tzu Chi Hospital, the system can save an average wait time of 39 minutes.
This technology saves a lot of time and it is very convenient. After I key in my information, I can go get my medication.
Furthermore, the system can also record patients' blood pressure and blood sugar level on a daily basis, which helps doctors understand their health condition.
We can monitor their record right from our hospital computer, and through studying the changes of their blood pressure and blood sugar level, we can then adjust their medication accordingly. This will be a lot more accurate than the data from the occasional blood work.
A tight security system helps make sure no personal data will be accessible by others.
The system will be locked if a wrong password is keyed in 3 times. Then you'll have to reactivate the card, so it's very safe.
This new technology not only enhances the quality of medical care, but also reduces patients' waiting time at the hospital.
Malaysia Tzu Chi recycling volunteer Xuan Cuiping joined Tzu Chi in 2003 and since then has dedicated herself to recycling. A failed marriage drove her to the mahjong table, but after joining Tzu Chi, her time has been better spent collecting recyclables. Spending her last moments keeping her vow of protecting the planet, Xuan Cuiping passed away peacefully at home on May 4th. She was 78.
有冇諗過要做匪類？
做到我死為止啦！
I'll continue until my last breath. As long as I can move, I will continue one more day.
For the past 11 years, Xuan Cuiping dedicated her life in doing her part to protect the environment. And on May 4th, the senior collected her last batch of recyclables, which are still on her bicycle.
That night she was outside and I asked her where she was going. She said she was getting some exercise and I saw her rifling through things and walking towards the area where the cardboard boxes are placed. That was the last I saw of her. Those things left on her bicycle are the last things she collected.
She was actually out collecting recyclables until 6 p.m. last night, after which she came home, showered, made dinner, and then she left us. Basically, my mother goes out to collect recyclables from morning till night. She feels if she has the strength, then she will go out to collect, because there are many people less fortunate than her that need money and help. And even though she's older, she feels she can still contribute to society.
A broken marriage drove her to the mahjong table, but Xuan gave up the bad habit when she started collecting recyclables.
Master Zheng Yan says to take action, and I've kept those words close to my heart.
I believe Cuiping will soon return to walk the Tzu Chi path because she loves Tzu Chi and loves Master Zheng Yan. She was able to quickly change her life around.
Even during her dying breath, Xuan Cuiping did not forget her vow to protect Mother Earth. Her spirit and heart is one that everyone will not soon forget.
At the end of the show, we return to Taiwan and head to Kaohsiung, where a Tzu Chi's parent and child class visited a local nursing home in hopes of teaching students lessons on filial piety through interacting with the senior residents. We will leave you with these images. Thank you for watching DaAi Headlines. Goodbye.